What if I told you the city that never sleeps has fallen into a coma? That Las Vegas is now a hollow shell, its pulse silenced. It all started with a single devastating video. A mere 15 seconds of a lone showgirl adrift in a cavernous casino, set to a soul-crushing violin. That was the only spark needed to ignite a firestorm of doubt, screaming the question, is Vegas dead? And just like that, the floodgates opened, unleashing a torrent of digital eulogies. We're talking about haunting images of a ghost town strip, furious tirades exposing the sham of $17 water, $50 intimacy kits, and an outrageous $36 for a single cocktail. The views, they soared into the millions. The damage, catastrophic. Make no mistake, this isn't just content, it's a full-blown crisis. Visitor numbers are plummeting, hotel rooms sit vacant like tombs, and Vegas, the self-proclaimed entertainment capital of the world, is hemorrhaging its reputation. It's now going viral for its spectacular failure. But here's the truly terrifying part. This isn't just a Vegas problem. If this titan of American tourism can be brought to its knees, who do you think is safe? What is this signal for San Francisco, Napa Valley, New York, Miami? Is this just a passing trend? Or is it a blaring red alert for every single city whose very survival hangs on the thread of tourism? In this investigation, we're not just documenting one city's collapse. We are tearing back the curtain on a deeply flawed post-pandemic travel economy and the terrifying, unchecked power of digital perception. We're exposing what happens when your entire identity is hijacked and weaponized by an algorithm. So brace yourselves, because this isn't a story about Vegas dying. It's a cautionary tale about how modern tourism is being violently rewritten, and a terrifying preview of who's next on the chopping block. The city that never sleeps isn't just hitting snooze, it's being put into a forced hibernation. Remember when Las Vegas was the ultimate adult fantasyland? A glittering, neon-drenched oasis where time was irrelevant and the only rule was how much you were willing to burn through. Casinos throbbed with life 24/7. Pool parties raged at 2 in the morning, and the roar of jackpot was a constant anthem. But now, a chilling quiet has descended. The only jackpot being hit these days is a deafening silence. Sure, wander down the strip on a Saturday night and you'll find pathetic little pockets of life, a facade of excitement. You'll see the manufactured cheer for the Bellagio fountains, the predictable swarms of influencers posing under glowing bridges. But dare to walk past Harmon Corner. Push past the garish M&M's world and a creeping dread takes hold. You'll see showgirls in faded feathers wandering like ghosts, vinyl chairs in tattoo parlors gathering dust, and the once blinding neon now feels weak, flickering like a dying star. Because behind that flimsy facade of glitter, the cold hard numbers scream the truth. In July alone, visitor volume plummeted a staggering 12%, and hotel occupancy nosedived by more than 7 percentage points from last year. And don't you dare call this a blip, it's a systemic rot. The locals, the city's lifeblood, they feel it in their very bones. Take David, a street performer forced to wear bunny ears, who once easily pulled in $800 a night. Now, he's lucky to scrape together $100. Or Earl, a former casino chef, now chained to his Uber, haunted by memories of a time when this city actually took care of its own. Even Fremont Street, the raw, beating heart of downtown, is showing signs of cardiac arrest. The Golden Nugget's lights might still be flashing, but it's a desperate flicker. The energy is diluted, a ghost of its former self. It's as if the party is technically still on, but the guests are just hollow shells, moving without joy. And then, you see it. The most damning evidence of the entire collapse. Desperate deals everywhere. When Las Vegas, the undisputed temple of the price gouge, starts begging for business with slashed prices, you know the city has lost its nerve. This isn't just about the bottom line. It's a crisis of the soul. Las Vegas, the city that arrogantly believed it was too vibrant, too essential to ever fail, is now forced to confront a question it never even dared to whisper in the dark. What happens when the music stops but the debt collectors keep calling? The weapon of mass destruction that crippled this city wasn't forged in a corporate boardroom. It wasn't launched by some legacy news network. No, it came from a teenager's phone. A mere 15 seconds. A gloomy filter. A desolate casino lobby. The haunting echo of a sad violin. That was the tiny spark that ignited the inferno. And just like that, the Vegas is dead TikTok virus was unleashed. At first, it masqueraded as harmless, trivial content. A few mocking clips of vacant tables, shamelessly overpriced menus, and dealers who look like they'd lost the will to live. But here's the terrifying truth. TikTok doesn't just reflect reality, it dictates it. The algorithm, a cold and calculating beast, feasts on drama. And overnight, Las Vegas, the city, was gone, replaced by Las Vegas, the punchline. And a punchline, unlike a hotel reservation, spreads like a plague. Then, the digital vultures descended. Some piled on with exaggerations, others ripped the lid off legitimate grievances, but the verdict they delivered was unanimous and brutal. Vegas is a ripoff, it's a letdown, and its glory days are long gone. But this is where the story takes a truly sinister turn. Because these videos didn't just document a decline. They actively manufactured it. Visitor numbers plummeted. Hotel revenue evaporated. Businesses cried out about dead weekends during what should have been their busiest season. One devastated showgirl captured the horror perfectly. It feels like we're just manifesting this into existence. So welcome everyone to the terrifying new age of viral perception, where a simple vibe has the power to shatter an entire economy. It's staggering. It used to take a full-blown recession, a national tragedy, or a catastrophic housing market collapse to decimate a tourist economy. Now, all you need is a trending audio clip and a cheap ring light. Even the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, a group about as edgy as a corporate memo, was forced into a desperate online battle. They unleashed pathetic promo campaigns, last-ditch discount packages, and legions of influencers on their payroll, all scrambling to inject some semblance of sparkle back into a dying brand. But here's the brutal truth. You cannot fight a TikTok inferno with spreadsheets. Because the social media beast, let's be clear, has zero appetite for nuance. It doesn't give a damn that convention attendance is up 10%, or that Fremont Street is still alive, or that hotels are frantically slashing their rates. It only craves one thing, a narrative. And right now, the narrative being screamed from the digital rooftops is that Vegas is finished. The irony is sickening. Just a handful of years ago, San Francisco was the internet's designated punching bag. A firestorm of videos exposing crime, tent cities, and those infamous $17 salads went viral, causing entire conferences to flee. Some of them even ran to Vegas for safety. Now the tables have violently turned. This is no longer just one city's PR catastrophe. This is a terrifying cautionary tale about how platforms built for dance crazes now wield the power to determine the fate of billion-dollar industries. In a disturbing new era where perception has become reality and viral fame is the only currency of survival, a horrifying question emerges. If your city is publicly crucified online for all the wrong reasons, can it possibly survive the judgment of the algorithm? Let's talk about sticker shock, the gut punch you feel when a beer costs more than your dignity. It's time for a reality check. Vegas was never a bargain, we all know that. But recently, it's plunged past expensive and straight into the abyss of absurdity. Just imagine, you open the hotel minibar to find a tiny bottle of water demanding $26. Beside it sits a Snickers bar priced as if it were mined on Mars, a cool $14. Congratulations, you are now a victim of the gotcha economy. You thought you could park your car? That'll be $20 per night, and don't forget the mandatory resort fees. Tack on another $55, even if you never see the pool. A single cocktail? $36, and it's so watered down it can't even numb the pain of being robbed blind. This has stopped being about luxury. It's now about the constant gnawing feeling of being hustled. And the tourists are finally waking up. Take Brett Riley, visiting from Arizona, who absolutely refused to be gouged for $14 for bottled water. His small act of rebellion was refilling his Fat Tuesday vodka cup with free ice water. His father just scoffed, having been bled for $200 for 3 comedy show tickets. And their seats weren't even remotely close to the stage. "If I'm 3/4 of the way to the back," he fumed, "the jokes better be 3 times as funny." And here lies the rotten core of the problem. Vegas used to be outrageous in the best possible way. Pure glitz, unapologetic glamour, a perfect guilty pleasure. Now, it's outrageous in the worst way imaginable. A snake pit of hidden fees, predatory overpricing, and the crushing certainty that the house always wins, even when its rooms are sitting half empty. And yes, inflation is real. Yes, every major city has seen prices explode. But Vegas is different because its entire identity was built on a lie. The promise of value cleverly disguised as extravagance. You could lose $500 in a casino and still feel like a high roller because the drinks were free and the buffet was a bottomless paradise. Today, that same buffet costs $85 and the drinks arrive with a bill and an insulting service charge. And guess what? The tourists have choices now. Other cities, other countries, even international travel is back with a vengeance. And when people start comparing the vibe to value ratio, Vegas is losing, and losing badly. This isn't just a disaster for visitors, it's a death sentence for the locals. Empty chairs mean unpaid bills. Slower weekends mean layoff notices. Even veteran entertainers are feeling the chill, performing to thinner crowds with wallets clamped shut. This predatory sticker shock isn't just murdering the fun, it is suffocating the very ecosystem that made Vegas a global phenomenon. So the question isn't why people are spending less, it's why would they spend a single dime when they feel like they're being mugged the moment they walk through the door? But is Vegas the only city marching proudly off this cliff? Las Vegas might be the poster child for this greed-fueled implosion, but it is far from the whole story. Pull back the curtain and you'll see a deeply disturbing pattern infecting tourist cities all across America. Let's take San Francisco, for example. Once the golden child of tech tourism and international conferences, it was unceremoniously dragged through the digital sewer post-COVID. A plague of viral videos showcasing open-air drug markets, rampant crime, and of course, that notorious $17 salad. Conferences bolted, headlines screamed, and for a while, the city felt dangerously radioactive. Even now, with officials claiming public safety is improving and tourism creeping back by a pathetic 2% this year, the city is in a constant state of frantic damage control, desperately trying to rebrand itself as cleaner, cheaper, and business-friendly, fighting a raging wildfire of perception with nothing more than flimsy press releases. And then you have the audacity of Napa Valley, the so-called luxury wine country, where hotel occupancy crept up a pathetic 3%. But the room prices? They've been jacked up to such obscene levels that the average tourist now believes they need a family fortune just to book a single weekend. Yes, the vineyard vistas are undeniably stunning, but that beauty curdles the moment you realize the cheapest glass of wine will set you back an outrageous $28. It forces people to ask a very bitter question. Is this a cherished experience or just a shakedown? And let me be clear, these are not isolated incidents. Cities from New York to Miami, from Honolulu to Orlando, are all trapped in the exact same death spiral. Extortionate prices, plus a firestorm of social media backlash, plus a radical shift in traveler psychology equals a recovery so fragile it could shatter at any moment. Why? Because the post-pandemic traveler is a completely different animal. They are skeptical, ruthlessly budget conscious, and obsessed with authentic experiences. They're digging through Yelp's unfiltered truths instead of TripAdvisor's polished lies, and watching TikTok exposés before ever clicking book. And if they catch even the faintest whiff of an overpriced tourist trap, they swipe left with extreme prejudice, both metaphorically and literally. What we are witnessing in Vegas is not just a Vegas problem. It is a terrifying preview, a dire warning for every city that survives on tourism dollars to keep its heart beating. but has grown arrogant enough to take travelers' loyalty as a given. The danger isn't merely in scathing reviews or vacant hotels. It's in the horrifying domino effect. One disastrous trip spawns one viral video, which in turn unleashes 1,000 cancellations. And unlike the bygone eras, you can't just throw a flashy ad campaign at this cancer and hope it goes away. You have to fix the fundamentally broken experience itself. So here is the blaring 5-alarm fire warning. If Vegas, with all its blinding spectacle and legacy of budget deals, and its ironclad global brand recognition, can stumble this catastrophically, what delusion makes you think it can't happen to your city next? From party at all costs mode to militant penny pinching, the tourists have been irrevocably altered. Remember that revenge travel feeding frenzy right after COVID? People were burning cash on business class just to sip champagne at 30,000 feet. The Strip was a human traffic jam, Airbnb was completely sold out, and every long weekend felt like a chaotic festival. But that chapter is slammed shut. It's over. Today's tourists aren't abandoning travel, they're just spending with surgical precision. The mindset has violently shifted from YOLO to a cold, hard ROI, return on investment. And Las Vegas, for all its glittering, deceptive sparkle, is beginning to feel like a colossal scam. Blame it on suffocating inflation, blame it on the mountains of student loan debt, or just blame it on the grim reality of growing up. Millennials, who were once the life of the party, are now being crushed under the weight of mortgages, daycare, and dental bills. And Gen Z? They grew up watching their parents get financially annihilated during the Great Recession. To them, financial literacy isn't a chore, it's the ultimate power move. Oh, they'll still travel, they crave it, but they demand experiences that have meaning. A grueling hiking trail that rewards them with a world-class view, a cozy boutique hotel oozing with local charm, a meal that is both Instagram perfect and fairly priced. And if they do descend upon Vegas, they're not there to mindlessly feed slot machines. They demand rooftop yoga at sunrise, impromptu art exhibits, food trucks that serve 5-star tacos, and yes, a TikTok-worthy pool party, but only if it doesn't break the bank. And here is the brutal kicker. They are utterly fearless when it comes to calling out corporate greed. If a $14 minibar Snickers feels like highway robbery, it's going to become a viral meme. If a $200 show is a disappointment, the 1-star Yelp review will be a work of savage art. In short, today's traveler is armed with more choices, more data, and more platforms to hold every single business accountable for their transgressions. Cities that fail to adapt will not just fade, they will become irrelevant ghost towns. Because when the vibe is a lie and doesn't match the price tag, the only thing tourists are packing is their profound skepticism. Vegas isn't just competing against its own past anymore. It's in a street fight with Thailand, with Tulum, with TikTok's top 10 disposable destinations of the month. So here is the damning question for every city that still foolishly believes being iconic is enough. Are you delivering genuine value, or are you just peddling overpriced nostalgia? Now Vegas fights back with deals, drama, and a desperate glimmer of hope. Las Vegas might be battered and on the ropes, but don't you dare count it out just yet. Because in true, defiant Vegas fashion, it is not bowing out with a whimper. It's roaring back with glitter, grit, and a $2 taco. Across the entire city, resorts are launching a desperate, full-blown charm offensive. Palace Station is practically giving away $9.99 steak and eggs. Crazy Horse 3 is running $2 Taco Tuesdays. Circa is desperately bundling rooms, food, and drinks, and even a poolside daybed for $400, all inclusive. Even parking, once an insultingly overpriced cash grab, is being shamefully walked back at some hotels. Why? Because the message has finally, painfully landed. If you want the tourists to come back, you have to earn their trust back. But Vegas isn't just discounting its way out of this crisis. It's being forced to evolve or die. In a desperate scramble over the last few years, this city has been hemorrhaging cash into sports and entertainment. The Raiders were bought, the A's are now in their sights. Formula One descended, its engines screaming down the heart of the Strip. And just like that, Vegas wants you to believe it's no longer about the soul-crushing pull of a slot machine. Now, it's all about manufactured stadium hype. And what's their crown jewel in this new facade? Stadium Swim at Circa, a rooftop temple of excess with 6 colossal pools, dominated by a 143-foot screen blasting NFL and UFC carnage. The price of admission starts at a calculated $30. For countless tourists, it's a carefully crafted illusion, cheaper and more distracting than the guaranteed losses on the casino floor. And don't you dare forget the live shows. Consider Jennifer Mahia, lured from the Bay Area for her sister's bachelorette spectacle. 16 women, a uniform of silver boots and football-themed dresses, all clutching tickets to see Gucci Mane. The Flamingo served up a deal they couldn't refuse. The atmosphere was intoxicating, and in that moment, the illusion worked. Vegas was back. It's still outrageously expensive, she admitted, but now, at least we're tricked into feeling like we get something for our money. This is the very pivot Vegas is being forced to make. Less predatory exploitation, more manufactured experiences. But make no mistake, not every resort is capable of learning. Some are still desperately clinging to the predatory old model, jack up the prices, conceal the parasitic fees, and hope the neon glare blinds you to the sticker shock. But others are learning, and they're learning fast. Today's generation of travelers demands shareable memories, not shameful receipts. But the work is far from over. The reputational damage is a deep wound that won't simply vanish overnight. The algorithms are watching like vultures, and the TikTok cameras are always rolling, waiting for the next kill. But here's the grim reality. Vegas knows how to stage a comeback. If the city can somehow manage to reinvent itself, if it can shed its grimy, sleazy skin, inject some semblance of value, and harness what once made it uniquely electric, then maybe, just maybe, the next viral video won't be a funeral for Las Vegas. It'll be the unbelievable story of how it flipped the script. This is the final wake-up call. This is what every tourist city must learn from the fall of Vegas. Las Vegas isn't dead, but it has been profoundly humbled. And in that humility lies a chilling warning, not just for itself, but for every city that lives and dies by the sword of tourism. Here's the truth no one has the guts to say out loud. Tourism is fragile. It's built on perception, on atmosphere, on expectations. And in 2025, those foundations are more volatile than a powder keg. The rules have been rewritten. Gone are the days when a big name and bright lights were enough to guarantee blind loyalty. Today's travelers are informed, they are opinionated, and they are brutally, unforgivingly honest. One bad experience explodes into 10 enraged tweets. One single overpriced burger becomes a viral takedown on TikTok. And that is the new battlefield every tourist-driven city must face. You're not selling a destination anymore. You're selling a feeling. And if that feeling is overpriced, stressful, or utterly fake, you might as well pack it up. Las Vegas got burned first because it flew the highest. It transformed from a symbol of fun into a monument of excess. It promised an escape, but delivered crippling bills. It sold dreams, but forgot that even dreamers have budgets. But don't you dare think this is just about Vegas. This is about San Francisco, still fighting headlines it thought were long buried. About Napa Valley, teetering between elegance and nauseating elitism. This is about Miami, Orlando, Honolulu, even New York. All of them are dancing on the exact same crumbling edge. The wake-up call is deafening. Your brand means nothing if your experience is fundamentally broken. People will not pay for nostalgia. They will pay for value. They will pay for a story, for authenticity, for a connection. But only if you have the decency to respect them first. So what can these cities learn from Vegas's public stumble and its painful rebuild? Reassess your pricing. Now. Just because you fleeced people for a $36 cocktail last year doesn't mean they'll stand for it this year. Price fatigue is real, and the perception of value is now more powerful than ever. Audit the entire experience. Would you feel good about paying resort fees, parking fees, and then seeing a tip suggestion on a $28 bottle of water? If not, then fix it. Invest in what truly matters. People want more than just a backdrop for their photos. They crave immersive, honest, human experiences. Make them feel something they can't find anywhere else. And they will come back. And listen, social media isn't the enemy. It's a fire hose of feedback in real time. Instead of silencing your critics, you should be begging them to help you improve. Diversify. Do not put all your chips on one kind of traveler. If your city only caters to the wealthy or to a single generation, it's already a relic. Vegas is learning this the hard way, but at least it's learning. It's not too late for other cities yet, but time is running out. Because the next viral takedown might not be about an overpriced beer or some sad, lonely showgirls. It just might be about your city. And when that moment of reckoning finally arrives, you better have something more substantial to offer than a hollow, flashy slogan. In the end, Vegas is nothing less than the canary in the coal mine, a dire warning for us all. The first to stumble into the abyss, but perhaps also the first to claw its way back. If this city can rewrite its catastrophic story, then so can others. But that hope is utterly extinguished if they dare to forget the lessons burned into their history. This entire industry was never about the place itself. It's a grotesque manipulation, engineered to dictate how the place makes you feel about yourself.